from Chelsea. We knew they had to clear out a lot of that squad looking ahead to the start of the new season, and a number of players have gone, Mark. What does that mean now, given their options of bringing players in? Obviously, Caicedo from Brighton has been heavily linked to a move out of the South Coast club. Have they done enough to be able to afford him?
Well, they obviously need midfielders because they've let a lot of midfielders go. Kovacic has gone, Kante has gone, Mason Mount's gone. So they need to stock up in midfield. But, you know, I worked out the other day that once Pulisic is done, once it's officially done, they'll have brought in just over £200 million in outgoing transfer fees. Obviously, Lukaku you would expect to add to that, but they spent £600 million last year, so that's still £400 million that they're, you know, in deficit. Now, Chelsea out of the Champions League this season. They finished way down the Premier League last season, so the earnings from that won't be great. They haven't got a shirt sponsor yet, so they have to find a way to plug the gaps. And I don't think they can do that by continuing to spend money on players that, yes, they need. But, you know, Caicedo, you're probably looking at £70–80 million from Brighton, which is another massive fee for Chelsea to pay. So at some point, you have to say, where's the money coming from and how can they keep spending this money when they're not, obviously, like I said, I just laid it out financially, they're not bringing as much money in as they should be doing. So they will probably sign Caicedo, that's how it works, but they'll need to sell or offload a lot more players to get some more money in because a £400 million deficit in 12 months is too big.
We know how good Caicedo was last season, Jules. Would there be any part of him, would you think, that actually maybe I could do better than Chelsea?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think right now they are the only club for him. There's no more an Arsenal like we saw in January, for example, when he got a new deal, which is making this Chelsea deal difficult. I mean, Mark mentioned the £80 million. I think this would be the minimum that Brighton want for a player that, again, renewed his contract only 6 months ago. And they know how much Chelsea are desperate for a midfielder because, as we've said also, they let a lot of them go. So Brighton are in a very, very strong position. I think Caicedo would likes the idea to go to Chelsea. He's going to earn more money, of course, and it's a bigger club than Brighton for sure, and you would expect them at some point to get back to the Champions League position, to again challenge for the big titles in the Premier League, in the Champions League. I think Pochettino, for a young player like Caicedo, is a very attractive manager. We know the track record with young players in his career as a coach. So all of that makes it, I think, appealing for Caicedo. The problem is, I agree with Mark, I'm not sure right now Chelsea can pay the 80 million. And again, that's a minimum. There will be bonuses on top. It's a very complicated deal. I just don't think that just right now they are ready. That's why they've been talking with Brighton for quite a long time to try to see the best. Let's not forget, not that long ago, they could not do Ugarte for 60 million. And since then, they've sold a lot of players. But selling players doesn't mean that you can then spend 80, 90, 100 million on one single player either. So again, I agree with Mark. There's quite a lot of optimism at the club around Caicedo, and I think it could happen. But it's just not an easy one. And right now, Chelsea are not in an easy position, full stop, in terms of transfers.
They're, of course, desperate as well to get Lukaku off their books, Jules. Obviously, we heard Pochettino come out and say that he wants a chat with him when he comes to training. Suggestions are he's not going to go to training. He's just going to chain himself to Milan.
Yeah, I don't think the chat will happen. Or maybe on the phone or on Zoom, but definitely not in person. The latest offer tonight made by Inter, the second one was 30 million euros. Plus some bonuses, so we get closer to the £40 million that Chelsea won for Lukaku, someone that they spent far more money on not that long ago, 2 seasons ago. So again, I think this one will happen. It's just a matter of time to find the right agreement and meet in the middle probably for Inter and Chelsea. And that would be a bit more money in to go and buy someone like Caicedo or to find a replacement for Pulisic, because they will sign a replacement for Pulisic, or also for a Lukaku replacement, some sort of number 9 on top of Nico Jackson. So it will be a very hectic summer for Chelsea. But I think the Lukaku deal is also a very important one, as much as to let him go because he doesn't want to be there anyway, but also in terms of then who you recruit after that.
You mentioned a replacement for Pulisic. I saw you put out on Instagram that Ryan Cherki likes Chelsea and Chelsea likes him, Jules.
Yeah, that's where we are, Dan, on this one. He's a very talented kid, there's no doubt. And Chelsea, as we know, certainly since the takeover a year ago, the idea and the philosophy is very much to go and get the best young players in Europe. And Cherki, for his age at 19, he's going to turn 20 in the summer, is one of them, if not the most gifted maybe of all that generation. And I think, considering he only has 2 years left on his contract, this is a very interesting player for Chelsea to play wide. He can play in pretty much every position, attacking-wise. He's left-footed and right-footed, that's similar foot. He takes corners from both feet during the same game. He's a very, very talented kid who wants to move out of Lyon. And I think Lyon need a bit of money as well. We know the relationship between the two clubs are good because Malo Gusto in January went from Lyon to Chelsea. So I think, again, this one is one to follow. It's not nowhere near close to be done. But I think very soon we could see a first offer, for example, from Chelsea going the way to Lyon.
Jordan Henderson has been linked to a move to Saudi Arabia. Should he bite the hand? Should he go?
Absolutely.
Yeah? You want to see him? You want to see him go?
Oh, no.
What?
No. If this is up to Jordan Henderson,
right,
then a 33-year-old being offered the kind of money that they're offering, absolutely you go.
How much of a blow is it to lose him?
It is a big blow. You know, we're talking about somebody who not only was...
He's your captain, is he your captain?
Aye. He was key on the field, but key off the field as well.
Right.
So for Liverpool, it's a dilemma. But it's also... I don't know this guy personally, but everything I've been told about him, he's probably going to feel as bad for Liverpool as Liverpool would if he decided that he wanted to go. So, as much as I think at 33 years old, you take the money 100%, I think he'll be tossing and turning, thinking, am I letting Liverpool down? Am I letting everybody down? Because I think that's the way this guy is. You know, I don't think he's your normal footballer. He's kind of an old school in a new era.
Yeah.
Where you feel the loyalty, and so it makes you kind of not sleep as well at night.
He's going to sleep really well once he sees his bank account.
Well, but I mean, not everybody's the same.
Oh, I know.
I think he's one of these guys that will have a conscience about, you know, if it had been a year down the line, then probably for somebody like him, it's dead easy.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that he's not quite there yet, and with his connections and the way the guy is, I think he'll toss and turn at night thinking about it.
Jules, I've just been told you don't like Jordan Henderson. I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I won't lie. I like the leadership and I like the guy, but as a footballer, and then to be fair, I think he can thank Steven Gerrard massively, because if Steven Gerrard doesn't go there as a manager, there's no way they make an offer at £700,000 a week for Jordan Henderson. Have they even seen Jordan Henderson play football? 700k a week. Have they seen him play football? I mean, come on. I mean, Ali Moreno could earn that much money instead of Jordan Henderson. Stevie Nicol as well.
Tell you what.
This is crazy.
Jules, that's harsh.
Wow.
That's harsh.
Whoa.
Come on. Listen, he's
That's
not Messi.
700k.
He's not. That's not my argument.
Stephen.
That's not my argument. My argument is what he did for Liverpool. I mean, yeah, it takes all kinds. It takes all kinds. Not everybody can be as silky as Messi or score a goal that Messi does, but there's all different pieces of the puzzle. And without Jordan Henderson, Liverpool might not win the Premier League or the Champions League. So I think you're being harsh on him personally, but. Thank you, Steven Gerrard.
But hold on a second.
You got that bit right, but I think you're being harsh on him.
The 700k a week, does that make you toss and turn still?
No, that would fill a nice pillow, that would.
Jules, you were reporting yesterday that Harry Kane's told Bayern he wants to go to Germany.
Yeah, he's quite keen on the move if the move could happen. I think the most important is not so much, we kind of knew that he was open to pretty much everything right now, Harry Kane, and rightly so. He's got every door open, staying but not renewing. There's an offer on the table for him to renew. Right now, that's not in his mind. Leaving, I think ideally maybe he would have liked to stay in England, but going to Bayern, I think is very appealing to him, like it would be very appealing to a lot of players. He met with Thomas Tuchel, we've explained that 2 days ago on the show. The contact was really good between Tuchel and Kane. The thing is, Bayern need to up their offer, make a third offer that is better than the second one that was rejected at 80 million euros. And right now, I think they're considering it. They thought that the 80 million euro was a fair one, but they know that if they really want Kane, they will have to go a bit higher, maybe around the 90, 95 million euros plus some bonuses to get close to the £100 million that Daniel Levy wants for Kane. But again, I think the positive in there is that the contact is still there between the two clubs, between Bayern and the Kane clan, the Kane family. And that's it. As long as the ball is rolling, anything can happen, especially if Bayern decide to finally make that third bid.
What's going to happen, Mark?
I mean, I don't even know Harry Kane knows. It's one of those situations where it will come down to money. It'll come down to Daniel Levy thinking, can I keep Harry Kane for a year, risk losing him for nothing in 12 months' time on the basis that he might get Tottenham into the Champions League? But, you know, there will come a point when £80 million, £90 million, that an offer comes and it's too good for Tottenham to turn down. And what we really need now, you know, Harry Kane's back in training. We need Harry Kane to say something. I think he probably owes it to the fans, actually. The fans are waiting day after day to find out what's happening. He can kill it stone dead. He can say, I'm staying, or he can say, you know, I want to move on now. It's time to move on. I've given everything I can. I want to win some trophies. But he's not said anything yet. Now, people might say that weakens his negotiating position, but I just think we need some clarity. And I think, you know, I get the impression that Bayern are doing the job for a lot of clubs that might be interested in Kane if they get an inkling that Tottenham will sell. I think Man United would look at it again if they felt they could. If Bayern could lay a benchmark down for a fee, I know United haven't got the money right now, but they will look to sell players and move money around, and who knows what's happening with the takeover. I mean, that might get done sometime this year, who knows. You know, Real Madrid, they need a forward as well. So there are clubs that are circling right now, PSG even, if they lose Mbappe. There are clubs that are circling that could do the deal, but I think they're letting Bayern do the running. And if Kane gives an indication he wants to leave, or if Tottenham give an indication they're prepared to accept an offer from Bayern, then I think it would, you know, open the door for other clubs to come in. But right now, you know, I think Tottenham go to Australia at the weekend on tour. So if Kane's in Australia, that takes him to the side of the world. It makes it harder for deals to get done. So it's going to drag on for weeks and weeks.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.